Hey guys, Purple95, recording live from your local county prison cell. I had to do this while driving, unfortunately, because it's so hot out. Yeah, and I am recording this on 4th of July, so I hope everyone has a happy 4th of July. I don't know if I'm going to post it, but I might. Unfortunately, I don't have anything thematic for the holiday, so it's just going to be a regular matchup. It's actually a matchup that's been very talked about. Oh, I think there was even a death battle cast about it, which is why I've waited this long on it, because I didn't really want to discuss it. I didn't really want to discuss it too close to that. But this is Lucina from Fire Emblem and Grovyle from not just Pokemon, but Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time specifically. And one of the reasons I like this fight, you guys know I like a good Pokemon fight, because I really like being able to take the RPG elements of Pokemon, and Pokemon's a franchise I know pretty well, right? I like being able to take the RPG elements of that and apply it to, like, a real-world scenario. The reason this is so interesting is that not only do I get to do that, but this is also not just a given Pokemon, this is a character. Like, this is a Pokemon within a narrative that has, like, its own cognitive, it's got its own personality, it's got sentience, and it's able to, it's got its own feats. So we'll have to get into that. But we're going to start with Lucina. So Lucina is the daughter of Chrom, and one of 5 given women, depending on which storyline you go through. And Lucina was basically trained by Chrom pretty much her entire life. And it's a time travel story. If you're not aware, both these characters are time travel related. So there's a lot of shenanigans that go on, but essentially, she ends up getting sent back in time to erase the future where this big stupid meanie dragon decided to kill everyone. Right? So she actually ends up disguising herself as, I believe, as Marth for a while, which is whatever. But that's relevant because she does use a parallel, because of a different timeline, a parallel universe version of the Falchion known as Parallel Falchion, which is Chrom's Falchion that did not collect all of, I believe they're gemstones or something. Didn't collect all the gemstones necessary to seal the evil dragon away, so it wasn't released at full power, and therefore is just a Falchion that is very, very good against dragonic opponents. That's not the end of it. It's not just really good at killing dragons, much like Marth's Falchion, but it also uses it also has the ability to heal the user. However, here's where we're going to have to do some finagling with the RPG aspects, is that it can heal the user by a set amount. It doesn't, like, completely heal them, but it heals them by a set amount when used as an item. So it can't be, I don't think it can be used in battle, or, like, in the middle, like, while actively fighting with it. So I think that would be how we interpret that, is that if she's fighting with the sword, she wouldn't be able to use it to heal herself. However, that's not the only trick she has up her sleeve, because she has a collection of skills. Now, a lot of the skills in Fire Emblem are just like, resource management. She's got a skill like Charm, which buffs her allies, so that's not really useful in a one-on-one fight. But the one big skill, and it's a really big skill in the Fire Emblem universe generally, and that is the Aether. This is a 2-hit attack where, you know, the user flips into the air and then comes slashing down. It's a skill that was passed down from Crumb, and it's a combination of 2 different skills known as Soul and Luna. Soul being a skill wherein the user heals themselves by the same amount as the damage the attack does. That would be the initial hit. And Luna being where at the moment before landing the hit, being the secondary hit, it lowers the opponent's defenses, making them more vulnerable. Now, how that would translate into a real-world fight, whatever. But because we're going against another RPG character, defense is a stat that we can actually apply. So that gives Lucina a mixture of things to do and whatnot there. Other than that, she is just she's just a very well-trained fighter. She's accomplished, you know, she's gone above and beyond. She's done insane things in the scope of the series. Like, again, killed a giant dragon, killed the night creature looking things. I don't remember their names. You know, broke linear time. Got to be regarded as one of the most famous heroes in Fire Emblem, period. You know, even if it was just a disguise. So, like, she's kind of aligned herself with the greats of the series. And that's not even counting, like, the individual successful missions that she had to do along the way. On to Grovyle, because this is the one I know more, and this is the one though I don't think I played this specific game. I got like halfway through Explorers of Space or something. So I didn't, not Explorers of Time, Explorers of Sky, sorry, is the one where, Grovyle does the whole thing. Yeah, so I don't actually know this story as well as I should, but I do know Pokemon pretty well. So, Grovyle is someone who, he's like Silver the Hedgehog, basically. Both these characters are like Silver, pretty much. Grovyle was sent from a disastrous future where time has been essentially paralyzed by Primal Dialga being a corrupted version of Dialga. And it's basically like eternal night, and creatures like Dust Noir and Sableye, you know, kind of like run around policing for Dialga because, you know. So, Celebi, a shiny Celebi specifically, makes it a point to send Grovyle back in time, steal the time gears, which are artifacts that essentially allow for the machinations of time to move forward. I'm going to say time a lot in this. Which Primal Dialga has used to, you know, to stop time. Collect the time gears, bring them back to the future, stop the potential future, realizing that this future means that, or changing this means that Grovyle will no longer exist, but still accepting it. Yeah, and going through every which way and turn along the way. Not the protagonist, by the way, just a very important side character. Now, Grovyle has been through a lot, including fighting the protagonist, including fighting Dust Noir, including helping Dust Noir and Celebi. Dust Noir had a bit of a change of heart, spoilers. Helping Celebi and Dust Noir fight and eventually defeat, not by themselves, but helping fight Primal Dialga. You know, not only just a legendary Pokemon, but also the being responsible for the upkeep of time itself. Yeah. Being able to help fight that. Now, because we're looking at a specific character within a narrative, right? It's probably more appropriate to look at the specific moves we've seen Grovyle use rather than and apply the statistics that we know rather than say, well, this would be like a wild Grovyle. For instance, in the Grovyle boss fight, he has 500 HP, which is well and above the maximum HP a fully EV and IV trained, fully HP invested EV and IV trained Sceptile would have, right? So clearly the statistics are not one-to-one for Mystery Dungeon for the regular series, right? Also, like I said, we probably shouldn't say, oh, well, Grovyle can learn this move naturally, so therefore... No, because we see this Grovyle in particular use moves that it doesn't learn naturally. Like, Dig is an example. Dig would be a move where you can hide underground and pop up out to attack, right? He's got melee moves like Leaf Blade and Slam, where he uses the leaf on his head to hit you, and then Leaf Blade, where he uses the leaves on his arm to slice you, right? He's got long-range moves like Bullet Seed and Energy Ball. Bullet Seed being a rapid-fire option of... sometimes it's actual seed, sometimes it's just like energy, or Energy Ball, which is actually just like the energy inherent to it being a plant, right? Fired at it and has a chance of lowering the target's special defense. Though I don't know if that's in Mystery Dungeon or not. Believe it has Quick Attack as a move as well, which would just be like in real term fight physics, would just be like a channeling a burst of speed that make it like impossible to counter. And then you would also look at things like its ability Overgrow, which when it's when it gets hurt enough, in game it's when its HP reaches a third or lower. In real life it would be like when he's badly hurt, I guess. The power of his grass type moves get powered up by I think like 30%, so exponentially in Pokemon standards. The other thing to take into consideration is that Grovyle in Mystery Dungeon, you can use a lot of items that you can't use, that don't exist in the regular Pokemon world, and you can use them at will because you are the Pokemon. And one of these items is something that Grovyle is very famous for using, or infamous rather, and that is the Luminous Orb. Now, in-game, the Luminous Orb just reveals it reveals the layout of the floor you're on, so that you know the entire, you know where everything is. It does everything except for traps. So you could say that's possibly a thing, like it gives you a spatial awareness. But the way that it's used in both the story and both its description is that it's an orb that generates a large amount of light, and he uses this to escape being captured by Dusclops many times throughout the time travel thing. So essentially the Luminous Orb would be like a flashbang, right? So yeah, that's a pretty like I said, it's and let's not forget, this is an individual character that has feats. He comes from a few, he spent his entire life basically as a resistance fighter, right? Fighting against these impossible odds in this future. He's successfully stolen time gears, right? He's been regarded as a menace to the strongest explorer guild, right? Even to where I think, what is it, Guildmaster Wigglytuff? Yes, Wigglytuff is their strongest mega boss. Yeah, Guildmaster Wigglytuff ends up absolutely destroy, you know, like, ends up claiming this guy to be, like, a menace. Yeah, so, I mean, this Grovyle is not, you don't look at this like a normal Grovyle, is what I'm basically trying to say. So getting into this fight here, but this is actually a lot closer than you might think. Because on one hand, the way Lucina scales to a lot of Fire Emblem feats, you couldn't really use like 3 houses or anything like that, but the way Fire Emblem scales in a lot of the series, some of Lucina's feats are insane. Like, you know, I think the fighting like a dragon god and everything. But admittedly, most of Lucina's feats are done with other people. A lot of Grovyle's feats are done with a lot of people too. But here's how I'm choosing to kind of interpret this fight. These two are two RPG characters, so we do kind of have to look at like statistics while trying to keep it in the realm of, you know, a fight, a real world fight scenario. So, Lucina has a lot of options with her falchion. It's also just like considered to be a nigh indestructible, if not completely indestructible sword. But I think I even mentioned when I did the Marth Aragon video, which I'm not trying to plug, but you should watch it because I am very proud of it. It is a fight I really like. Marth's falchion, I think falchion beta it's called, gives him like passing healing, if I remember correctly, like passive healing. Like, you know, the longer he just stays, the more he heals. Lucina's options for like, because Lucina is more of an, honestly, more to be an assist character, right? Like a support character, because most of her feats are, like I said, resource management. Like, she can use skills more freely than most other characters because of one of her abilities, and like charm, which buffs her allies and stuff like that. Lucina is more like a quest character, whereas Grovyle has been fighting. I mean, he's had help and he's had allies, but he's very much a lone wolf kind of character, and has had to face odds mostly alone, if not entirely alone. Like when he and Dusk Noir and Dusk Noir was badly injured, had to navigate like an icy dungeon by themselves, and Dusk Noir could barely fight, and Grovyle had to fend off, what was it, like 3 Glalie and a Mamoswine, all of which would have super effective moves against it. Yeah, like, he's used to having to face odds by himself. They happened to lose that fight in particular, but I'm saying Grovyle is used to fighting by himself a lot, or having to depend on himself a lot. Lucina's not really too used to fighting alone. Hence why she had to kind of disguise herself as Marth to avoid conflict. Not saying that Lucina's any slouch or anything, but her options for one-on-one combat are pretty limited. She's a very good sword fighter, right? And she's more than adept at handling herself. It's just the, you know, she becomes when she goes from a group setting to a one-on-one confrontation, she loses a lot. Her only real options are her non-confrontational healing with, you know, using falchion as an item, parallel falchion as an item rather than a weapon, if we even count that, and Aether, but specifically Aether and those 2 hits of it. Whereas someone like Grovyle has just way more options to go with. right? Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention, I knew I was going to forget at least one move, was Absorb. It's a very weak move, so I don't know that we count it. I don't know that it makes too much of a difference, but it is a healing option that Grovyle has. That being said, right? So, like, Lucina can heal herself and lower Grovyle's, defense, but only when hitting a specific move, a specific part of a specific move, right? So it's not really... Now, she would have Soul and Luna independently, so I guess you would count that too. So, like, she could just lower Grovyle's defense or heal independently. She doesn't have to do Aether. It's just Aether is a much stronger option to use, especially in a one-on-one fight. But like I said, Grovyle has evasive moves like Dig. He's got multiple forms of close-up combat like Slam and Leaf Blade. He can close the gap very easily with Quick Attack. He's got, projectile attacks both in rapid fire and high impact form, like with Bullet Seed and Energy Ball. And like we said, he's got the Flashbang, right? He's got a draining move and Absorb, even though it's very weak. And he's got the Flashbang. And not to mention, yes, he's got a very weak healing move like Absorb, but don't forget, Overgrow, that kind of works with Overgrow, because if Grovyle gets lower, his grass moves like Bullet Seed, Energy Ball, and Leaf Blade are going to go up in power, right? Which kind of, offsets the, like, Lucina can lower Grovyle's defense so he takes more damage, but if he takes a lot of damage, she risks giving him a power-up unintentionally. Also, things like the Luminous Orb, which is just like a distraction item, if we count the spatial awareness. But the other thing that I think makes this really seal the deal here is that Grovyle is, by converting from regular Pokemon to Mystery Dungeon stats, Grovyle is so much stronger than a regular Grovyle because of the 500 HP, to the point where it's like, he's got a lot, like, even at 30% health, right? 500 HP at 30%, that's what? That's like 100... Wow, my math is gonna suck here. It's like, what, 160 something, 100? That's like a full health. That's a lot of HP to still have and have Overgrow activate, right? Like, Grovyle's doesn't even need to be near death at that point for like Overgrow to activate. It doesn't even need to be badly beaten. It just needs to be like on its way there, right? Grovyle would be very, very tanky, in fact. And then if we consider like the Grovyle Pokedex entries, where it's like, things like in a forest setting, even the fastest Pokemon can't catch Grovyle. It's super adept. Grovyle's known for being a very agile, very, jumping and quick-based Pokemon. So, like, this is a type of fight that Lucina's not really qualified to win, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, she does, she's this great character and she's had these phenomenal, this phenomenal story behind it, but I just think Grovyle, especially this, like, a regular wild Grovyle would not beat Lucina, in my opinion. Even if we gave it all the other moves that it could learn, like a regular wild Grovyle could not beat Lucina. However, and here's maybe the biggest factor here. Wild Pokemon tend to not have, like, wild Pokemon, especially in a death battle setting, tend to be like, they don't have their trainer's guidance behind them. They don't have, they kind of lack the ability to act and think for themselves. There are genius level Pokemon, but, like, still, the fact that this is a sentient Grovyle that knows its own skills and has fighting experience, is able to fight and make decisions, is able to talk, right? And by the way, in that future that Grovyle comes from, the protagonist is a human. So it's not like Grovyle isn't familiar with humans at all. So, like, that's what really seals the deal here. Like, even if you got a very strong Grovyle, like a regular Pokemon Grovyle, it would still be Lucina fighting like a wild animal. And, like, okay, she's killed dragons. Yeah, she had a dragon killing sword, but, like, still, right? The fact that this is a smart, sentient, self-aware Grovyle with with a lifetime of fighting experience, of fighting uphill battles, right? Fighting losing battles, that can make decisions, that, like, is used to evading sticky situations, is used to, like, you know, escaping certain doom, is used to beating the odds, right? With all of that experience behind it and the, you know, cognizance to actually implement that experience, I think that, and the fact that its HP is super fucking buffed, right? By comparison, I think this is a very, I think that's the thing that kills it. I think it's the fact that it's not a base level Pokemon Grovyle, but it's like own thing, which is what I said. I think it's a very interesting way to look at a Pokemon fight, because you still get to use all the statistics from Pokemon. It's just, it becomes a different thing because this is actually a character. But anyway, yeah, very long way for me to talk about that fight. If I upload this tonight or today, happy 4th of July. If I upload it later, I hope everyone had a happy 4th of July. Anyway, for Blunger95, see ya.